Hello there and welcome to another video. I'm Liz Wright from Liz at Home in Cape Town in South Africa, and today I'm doing a colour and chat using these new Arrtx acrylic markers of mine, and I'm going to be painting in Matchstick Mouse, a summer, I think it's called, a summer colouring book by Morgan O'Brien. And I'm going to be continuing the picture that I started when I did the review of these paints. I was requested to do this by one of my lovely subscribers, so I thought, well, that's a good idea. I'm going to be starting using number A103, which is called Light Coffee Brown, to do the background of the little, I imagine him living in a little mud house. He's got his little mousy places and he's got his shop set up here, and I think it's all in a sort of a in the ground kind of area. That's why I'm doing it to this kind of color, and I'm just enjoying doing them. I've done a little bit of research since I did the review, and I was looking up to see what exactly are acrylic paint markers, and I saw something interesting saying that some oil-based paint markers have got that you need to vigorously shake the pen so the ball bearing can mix the paint with the oil before use. This was from a website called zealer.co.uk, so that made me wonder about Posca. So I then went onto Posca website, and they say Posca's paint is water-based, odorless, and made without alcohol or solvents, and in fact is so safe that beekeepers sometimes use Posca markers to identify the queen in beehives. So these are not Posca markers, nor do they have a ball bearing, but they are water-based markers, they say so, although they are acrylic paint pens. So then I began to think, what is acrylic paint actually? And acrylic paint is a water-based paint, and some of the properties of it are that it dries quickly, and it's known for its durability and its flexibility, and that it apparently can resist fading, and also the fact that you can use it on a variety of surfaces, which goes along with these because they say on the cover that you can, and on the adverts, you can use them for stone painting or rock painting or on wood or plastic or anything like that, and that it dries to a matte or glossy finish depending on the type of medium used. So these tend to dry matte, which I'm pleased about because that means I can color over them with pencil should I want to. So I found all of that actually quite interesting. They're saying water-based acrylic paint pens are quite a new discovery, but I mean, they're not that new. They've been around for about 20 or more years as far as I know. So I think that's all the gems and pearls of wisdom that I can come up about them. I'm enjoying the feel of these paints on the paper. I specifically decided to use an Amazon printed paper, which I think we all think of as the worst coloring book paper that one gets usually. And so I thought it's nice to know if these are usable on this paper, and I found them really nice. And the thing that's kind of nice when you're using them is that they do give a good payload of color. You don't have the tooth of the paper showing through. So I decided to try and blend this, but they're fairly opaque, so it more covers it up. They're, as I say, fairly opaque, not very opaque, because you can see the black lines of the image actually shine through. So it's not that thick a paint. I really do enjoy these nibs, and I like this color. Excuse me, I got a catch in my throat. needed to drink a bit of water. So Easter has just passed. Did you guys have a good and happy Easter if you celebrated? We had a very peaceful Easter time here, and on the Easter Saturday was my husband's birthday, and on the Easter Monday was my son-in-law's birthday. So on the Monday we call it in South Africa a braai, which is like a barbecue. We went to my daughter's house and we enjoyed a braai together, and that was lovely, and it was actually so nice socializing and having a chat with people. I'm going to try now some shading with my water brush pen, just pulling this darker color down. That kind of works, I think. I'm not sure. We'll see as it dries. I want to try and smooth this out now also with the water brush pen, and that's also working. So they're still damp enough to work with the water. I must say, since the whole thing of COVID and lockdowns and things like that, I tend to appreciate company more than I used to. I went to the theatre the other night. We've got showing at our opera house here in Cape Town, the Buddy Holly show, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't actually realize that half the pieces of music that were in the Buddy Holly show, that obviously Buddy Holly performed and had written, I didn't realize that they were by Buddy Holly. So there's a lot of music from my youth that I really just enjoyed. It was so fun, and it's really lovely to have the buzz of live theatre again. I suppose it was part of my life for so long that I didn't realize quite how much I missed it. So that was really something special. I teach a lot of children that do musical theatre, and they belong to a drama group, and that drama group is going to be putting on Singing in the Rain quite soon. And so I'm really looking forward to going to that as well. That's going to be produced in a school hall, not in a big theatre, but they normally do really, really good productions, so that's exciting. They're all school children. So I'm carrying on and slowly but surely getting this background done. I'm sorry I'm such a slow colorist. I've been trying to watch some YouTube pages of finished colorings lately, and I think people do such gorgeous work. I really enjoy it. I have put up a hashtag, as I showed in one of my videos, but about pretty in pastel, and so I'm trying to use pastel colors in this so that I can do it for my own hashtag. Now I'm trying using my Caran d'Ache palette aquarelle and using the water brush to put the darker shading, because I don't want it quite as dark as when it comes directly out of the pen. And then I thought I can try just a little bit of shading here. I want to try and do the whole picture using these pens and not bring in any pencil or anything. So yeah, I think that makes a little bit of a difference. I'm not entirely sure. Try it on this side and we'll see how that works. I'm looking for a recommendation of a nice novel to read again. I'm kind of between books, so if anybody's read something that they really enjoyed. I tend to enjoy kind of cozy romances sort of thing, and not explicit things, and I tend to enjoy crime and mystery and detective novels, so those are the sorts of things. But then I also enjoy things like that I suppose could be called literature. There was that book written by called Americana by somebody, Chimanan. Oh, I can't actually remember her name, but it was an incredible book. So I really enjoyed that as well. So I do enjoy things that also make me think. But yeah, if you've read something that you really loved, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll be able to find it and enjoy it. I tend to listen to audiobooks. That's my preferred way of reading these days, because I started doing it when I was having all the problems with my eyes, but my eyes are fine again. But I like to listen to an audiobook while I'm coloring, so I get possibly less involved with listening to words and than with listening to music. Music has been a job for me for so many years, for my entire life. And my brain doesn't fall still when it hears music. It analyzes and it talks about and it goes on about. Like I was listening to, there was on YouTube, UK-based lottery musical theatre extravaganza or something. And for the first time in a long time, there was the girl that's the current Eponine in Les Miserables, and she sang that beautiful, beautiful musical theatre song called On My Own. And for the first time in forever, as it started, I was listening to her voice, and I don't try, the commentary just arises in my mind. And I don't know how to explain, like for the first time in so long, all of a sudden I was just carried away, and she moved me so much that by the time the song ended, I was literally sobbing. It was absolutely incredible. I must see if I can find a link to the video in case you enjoy musical theatre. It was about 15 to 20 minutes into the video, though. The other stuff was great. I enjoyed it, but I listened the way I always listen. I don't really get that emotionally involved, but this Eponine, and if you live in the UK and you get a chance to go and see her, I should imagine she's stunning. So yeah. Do any of you enjoy live theatre? Do you go to musical theatre? Do you go to opera? I've got an old pupil of mine who's an opera singer in Germany. He tends to sing mostly Donizetti and Rossini operas, and he's visiting South Africa as a guest now in May, and my husband and I are going to a concert to see him, and then he's also the lead tenor in the opera called The Pearlfishers. So that's very exciting, and I can't wait to see him again, actually. It's such a privilege to have had the opportunity to work with all these incredible talents through the years, and to see them developing and all the different styles. So yeah, I love working with teenagers. I work with a few people that are post-school, that are very serious about their careers, that want guidance still, but I'm normally teach them high school to the end of high school and then pass them on and then follow their careers from there. So not that any of that's got anything to do with colouring, but this is, after all, a colour and chat. This colour now is called A99 Golden Brown, and I'm doing the two posts of these little advertising posts with that, and then I'm doing the actual wooden, the square bit, the rectangle bit, I'm doing with A115, which is called Nut Brown. And I think all of these I would class as pastel colors because they're quite rich. They don't look washed out like pastels, but they all have that sort of white, that kind of thing that makes something a pastel. So, having just said that, I all of a sudden began to wonder, what does a pastel actually mean, a pastel color? So I've looked online, and I'm at www.colormeanings.com, and they say a pastel can be defined as any colour with just enough white to make it soft and pale looking, whilst maintaining the original integrity of the base colour. Referring to a pale tint or of virtually any secondary and primary colour, pastels have a low intensity or saturation and high luminance. The amount of light, that's the luminance. In fact, you can create a pastel by adding light to any pure colour on the colour wheel. And then they also say pastel colours are generally described as mild, soothing, and inoffensive colours. For the most part, pastels are employed to evoke a calming sense of relaxation, while soothing and inoffensive, pastel colours boast the unique ability to stand out. Largely, pastels have been associated with motherhood and femininity. These delicate colours are often used to decorate the bedrooms of younger children, and these key attributes allow pastel colours to have lasting popularity across all types of designs. Well, that's interesting. So I'm right in my feeling that because of the white I have the feeling that white is added to these colours, that it still makes them pastels. I'm now using my water brush to try, and I want to get an even paler shade of this, so that's why I'm watering it down, and also just testing the water solubility of these paints. Now the thing is, once they're dry, you would not be able to work them again, or you should not be able to work them again because they're acrylic. That means that they would have a polymer binder. I think I'm right in that. I'm saying that off the top of my head. But a watercolor has a binder that is activated by water. Sometimes people use honey as a binder in their watercolors. This has a more plastic-based binder, acrylic paints do. So I quite like the way this turned out with the water added. I'm going to repeat that on this side. Another thing I'd like to know from you guys is, do any of you watch shorts on YouTube, or do you tend to watch shorts on TikTok? Do you subscribe? Do you have TikTok on your mobiles? Do you watch it? I have not yet downloaded TikTok. I kind of can't bring myself to do it. I know that as a YouTuber I probably ought to start getting onto TikTok, but for me already, being a senior citizen, to do YouTube, to do Instagram, to do Facebook is all challenging. And so the thought of now yet another one and another new learning curve kind of makes me just feel so tired to think of doing it. So I'd love to know if any of you use TikTok, because I always thought, I mean, my grandchildren use TikTok, so I always sort of thought TikTok, the young people tend to go to TikTok like the young people started going to Instagram because they wanted to get away from us oldies on Facebook. It all started off with young people on Facebook, and then all of us older people got onto Facebook as well. And now the young people, I think they want to get away from us oldies, so then they went onto Instagram and Snapchat and that sort of thing. And now all of us in the arts and crafts community, and I think people that sell things and everything, are all on Instagram. I know there's a lot of fashion and cookery and books and all sorts of things on Instagram, and I've slowly but surely been trying to get more and more comfortable on Instagram, and I think I'm finally starting to actually enjoy it. But now I listen to people and I watch people, and here's their TikTok address or whatever it is, and then you've got to download Discord, and I just don't think that I can get there? Is it something that any of you would particularly love me to do? Or are most of my subscribers and most of you guys that enjoy my videos more enjoying things like YouTube? And do you prefer the longer videos or do you enjoy the shorts? I try to upload some shorts because I feel it gets people to see the channel, and I often like repurpose part of a long video into 1 or 2 shorts because a short has to be under 1 minute. I see one of the things I uploaded thinking I was uploading a short was 1.1 minutes, so 1 minute and 1 second, 61 seconds, and so it's out as a long video. So on my palette Aquarelle, I'm just using a baby wipe to try and remove what I'd got there. And I want those little things to dry for a bit before I fill in the rest of those words, of the letters. I got an email from Colouring Heaven magazine, and I see that they're bringing out their 100th volume, their 100th edition. Isn't that incredible? I can't believe they've been going so long already. I was so excited when I saw they came out, and I used to subscribe, and then I stopped my subscription with the advent of COVID. And since then, I also do find that I have so many of them and I don't actually get to colour in them. So I now just tend to buy one that I particularly want with an artist that really particularly appeals to me. But what is exciting is this 100th edition is another one with Kanoko Igusa and apparently all new designs. So I bet that's going to sell out very quickly. So now I decided to give our little mouse, she's going to be, this Matchstick mouse is going to be a female, and she's wearing a pretty pink little hat, and the color that this pink is called A5, and I love the name of the color. It's called Mum Pink. I think that's so cute. So I'm using, which I don't use very often, the hardest side to just do the little border. It's quite nice to have that option to not always use the brush. So now I've decided I'm going to try blending this with water as well to try and get more pale. I want to get a blend of color from dark of this color to a more pale color. And with pencils, you tend to have 2 or 3 pencils that are in the same color family. But I'm going to try scribbling again on my plastic palette and then using my paintbrush. But I decided now that I was finding the water brush was actually just too wet. So I'm using a proper paintbrush, just a small size 6 paintbrush. It's my little Milan paintbrush that I got in a scrawler box a couple of years ago. I really like that, but I can control the amount of water and paint much more easily with the actual paintbrush. So I feel like I can judge the amount of color I get down, whereas with the water brush, because there's so much water, you can't judge the color. I was thinking as I was painting this, how when I've got my first water brush pen now on this coloring journey, and it was the first time that I actually used a paintbrush since being a child, and how out of control this thing felt, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I must say, I'm these days just love paintbrushes. To me, they feel like an extension of my hand. But I was remembering that total dismay of what do I do now with this thing, and it's soft and it moves and it squishes, and where's the color going, and how do I do this? And it just shows, doesn't it, that the more you do something, the easier it becomes. I'm by no means an expert, but I love paintbrushes now. They feel like my friends. I love my paintbrushes, just like I love my pencils. I sometimes just stand and stare at the pencils, stand and stare at the paintbrushes. They're They're just so fun to work with. As I'm doing this, I sort of see the white there, and I'll keep wondering, shall I leave a white space? But I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to hope that it's pale enough to show the gradation of color. So when you use actual acrylic paints, you can create a wash with them just by adding water as well. So that's basically what I've done here. And I just feel like it's more controlled this way than with the water brush pen. I love that color. I think that's awesome. So now I think that I'm going to give her nose and her tail the same color rather than a bright pink. I think this is, I'm sure her nose and her tail can be the same color as her hat. Is that weird? I hope it's not weird. I feel like this is going to be a very, very long video. So I think that what I'm going to do is tell you that I'm going to be using the same colors as I'm using in the flags on the letters on the of the nuts and the fruit, and then I'm going to color in just a little bit of the fruit, and then we'll probably end. But I think I'm going to put on some music for this because I've run out of things to say. I've actually decided, because I was asked by some of my subscribers previously when I'd put on a recording of myself singing, that I will put on me singing. This is me again in a concert probably about 20 years ago now. It was recorded on a cassette tape recorder, so it's not a professional recording at all. And the song I'm singing is by the composer Richard Strauss. The song's name is Zueignung, which means dedication. The poet is Hermann von Gilm. And what the song means is, I will read you a translation. It says, "Yes, dear soul, you know that I'm in torment far from you. Love makes hearts sick. Be thanked. Once, reveling in freedom, I held the amethyst cup aloft, and you blessed that draught. Be thanks. And you banished the evil spirits, till I, as never before, holy, sank wholly upon your heart. Be thanked." It's a piece that I've always loved, and if you cringe at classical music, just fast forward. If you enjoy it, listen to the accompanist. He was my dear friend, Victor Tichart. He is no longer on this earth. I think he's playing with the angels, playing for all the harpists and for all the heavenly choirs. He was the most wonderful musician and the dearest friend. So I hope that you enjoy this.
Thank you.
so many memories of special times in my life. So now I'm going to use this color for the T because we've got an extra letter. So this color is A15 Apricot. I'm going to color these little things that I was not sure if they were tomatoes or persimmons. I think they're possibly persimmons. I've just looked at a Google image of persimmons and they're this kind of orangey apricot-y color. So I'm announcing them as persimmons. Persimmons, I never quite know how to pronounce them. Do you ever eat persimmons? Do you know what they taste like? I quite like them. I sort of probably in a year have about 3, so I wouldn't say they're a staple in my diet, but I do occasionally buy them. I actually just got a pomegranate yesterday, and I've been sort of nibbling the seeds, or I think they call them the jewels. I know they were quite fashionable in recipes a while ago. I find them awkward things to eat. They're fine to eat at home, but I can't swallow the pips. So if you're in company or a restaurant, it's really awkward to have decent manners and remove them from your mouth all the time. So I don't really like them in salads and things like that. Now, I've just been watching Emma Lefebvre, who is, as you probably all know by now, my favorite watercolor artist on YouTube. And she's been drawing and painting these lemons using Neocolor 2s. And so I'm inspired by the way she does them, and she leaves this white patch. But this, of course, is not watercolor. So that is yellow that I used, which is number 1, and it's called Lemon Yellow. And now I'm using the A115 Nut Brown, which is kind of like a yellow ochre. And then I'm going to use my paint brushes, not moving the lemon paint. So I think I must try and do something with that, but it is moving this here to just give a bit of a blend there. I think that's too stark, that white there. I may come over it with the white marker and just see what happens and see what I think. Let's see, because now, of course, the paper's wet. I hope I don't break the paper. We'll see. I wonder if I should use my paintbrush again. Try first blending a bit of lemon around the edges. And I think that's probably as good as it's going to get. I'm just going to do the last few lemons and then some greenery. And then I think that's as far as we're going in this one. If you enjoy this, I'm not sure. I was going to say if you enjoy this, let me know and I'll finish it as a color along. But I take that back because I actually want to finish the picture. So I think I'll finish it in my own time. I'm not somebody that copes well with having works in progress. I just find that they play on my mind. I can't start something new until I finish something that I'm busy with. I know many people enjoy working with a few things on the go at once. I find it kind of saps my energy in a very strange way. I just don't respond well to that. So I must admit I don't know if these are lemons or not, but yet again, it's my colouring page. I can make them what I want to. There's not in this set a good colour for the strawberry. I think when I do it, I'm going to use something that's called Pure Vermilion, A35, and hope for the best. But we'll see. I'm just using now a green, it's called Pomona, A57, that I'll be using, but I'm first going to be using the white to do the highlights. It's quite nice to have another acrylic paint pen for highlights and not just my Poscas. I don't want these to be fat lines, so try that. And now the Pomona green for the stalk. I might come in with the metallic for that nail head. I'm not sure. We'll see. This is the Pomona green. I'm just going to do the stalks. And I hope that you've enjoyed this colour and chat. And if you've stayed with me all this time, let's make the word dedication, which is the name of this song, our secret code word to show me that you got this far in the video. If you have, then I really want to thank you for staying all this time, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think, what you like. Put in a request if there's something you'd specifically like me to do in the future. What do you think of these paint pens? Do you like the colors? Do you agree that they can come as a pastel? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to put it in as my pretty in pastel, but I'll do another one as well. Pretty in pastel for my hashtag. I'm slowly zooming in as I do this so that we can get to the front. Makes for something different to watch, although it makes me feel a bit strange seeing the picture getting slowly closer and closer. I feel like I could be getting a bit seasick with it. So thank you so much for watching and for staying with me. I really do value you, and thank you so much for being subscribers or for visiting the channel. And I hope to hear from you in the comments, and I hope that you'll join me again for the next video. But until then, thanks again and goodbye now. Have a wonderful, creative, safe and happy week. Bye-bye.